Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about a really hot topic. What is the value of paying off your home as you retire, or even paying your home off sooner than retirement? No more mortgage payments. That's the key, right? So let's talk about this. Owning versus renting. It is so confusing with all the different advice out there. So the truth is that home ownership is one of the many paths to wealth. Whether you rent or you own a property, the key to wealth is living below your means, then investing all that money into other assets that create you cash flow. This is a much stronger predictor of financial success than just simply having a house and paying it off. Now remember, financial freedom looks different for everyone. Focus on the strategies that work best for you and don't get hung up on, whatever anyone else is telling you to do, especially if they're not where you want to be. I personally only listen to people who are where I want to be in life. So think about it. If you want to invest in real estate, do you go take advice from a person that has never owned a home or a rental property? Or would you go and take advice from a real estate investor that owns 10 units, 100 units, 200 units? I'd probably stick with the investor, right? So let's look at rent versus the mortgage battle. Okay, let's start with the headline most renters fear the most. Hey, your rent's going to rise. So inflation can push those monthly payments higher, making budgeting a constant struggle for anyone that's a renter. If you don't believe me, check out what inflation has done the last few years to rents. Okay, the average rent increase in 2021 was 18%, which was 5 times faster than in the first year of the pandemic. And then from 2021 to 2022, average rents increased by 14.07%, making one of the largest year-over-year increases since 2017. And then in 2022, rental price growth began to slow down a little bit, so the rent prices haven't gone up as much, but they still have increased by 12.2% from the year prior for anybody that's a new tenant. Now, how are tenants going to keep up with these rent increases? Now, a homeowner with a fixed rate mortgage, on the other hand, has that hopefully that payment locked in if they have a fixed rate mortgage, offering them some stability over, a landlord who keeps increasing your rent every year. But here's the flip side for renters. This potential rent increase can be a wake-up call to boost their investment strategy or to save up to invest in a house. Think of it as a way to turn rent into a springboard for future home ownership. So you really want to save the money, then go out and buy a home. And then if you do have a high interest rate, just wait till the interest rates come back down in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and then refinance at a lower interest rate. Remember, it's not a one-size-fits-all situation. Both renting and owning have their pros and cons. The best choice depends on your individual circumstances. So here are some factors to consider, right? Lifestyle. Do you crave flexibility and the ability to move easily? Renting might be a good fit for you. Financial stability. Are you comfortable with the upfront costs and the ongoing maintenance of owning a home? Then what is your long-term plan? Do you see yourself staying in one place for a while? Home ownership would be a good investment if you're going to stay somewhere for a long time. I know a home does not make you cash flow to live off of, but it is a great way to save since you're paying off your principal. So really, owning a home and paying down the principal on your loan is really pretty good savings account is basically what it amounts to. But no matter what path you choose, the key is to be proactive with your finances. By understanding the cost picture beyond just the monthly payment, you can make informed decisions about renting versus owning and then pave the way for a secure financial future for yourself and your family. Okay, so let's look at the math behind mortgages. So let's consider a typical $400,000 house purchased by a first-time homeowner in their 30s with a 30-year mortgage. That's what most people get. They don't get 15 or 20 years. They usually get 30 years. Now, by retirement, that house should be paid off if they stayed in that house the full 30 years. But that's not usually what happens. Most people, they'll end up moving into a bigger home, so they'll maybe stay at that home for 10 years. If the homeowner, like I said, moves into a new home after 10 years, then now you've got another 30-year mortgage. And so now you have another 30 years to pay it. So now you have your 10 years for the home you lived in previously, and now you went and you moved into a new home. Now you have another 30 years. That's 40 years you're going to be paying on mortgages. The other thing people do is they'll pull equity out of the home. So many people, they pay their house down and the house has appreciated some. Then they'll go and refinance, pull all that money out, and you're not paying your house off. Now, that's okay if you go buy assets with that money. So that money you pulled out, if you can go buy something to make you more money, you start a business, you go buy real estate, then okay, great. But most people go and they renovate the house or they get a new kitchen or they go on vacation and they just kind of frivolously spend the money. They're never going to get that back. So next thing we're going to talk about, being mortgage free. Hiring with a paid off home frees up significant cash flow without a $1,500 or $2,700 monthly mortgage payment. You wouldn't need that extra $18,000 to $32,400 annually when you retire. That translates to needing $450,000 to $810,000 less in your retirement savings because you have that house paid off in your retirement and you're not using that money, for your mortgage. Don't forget the hidden costs though of homeownership. I mean, there are other costs. Just because you paid off your mortgage doesn't mean you can't pay your taxes. You're still going to have to pay that, and you're going to have to pay insurance, and you will have repairs. Usually the costs are $4,000 to $7,000 annually on a $400,000 home. Now that might be more than you want to pay, but it's less than the additional savings needed with a mortgage in retirement. Rent has skyrocketed the last few years like we just talked about. So many renters are paying a lot more than a homeowner who bought their home when, the interest rates were 3 to 4%. My mortgage on a 2,000 square foot home is $1,500 a month, and my interest rate is low. It's like 3%. As of making this video, my home is going to be paid off in about 8 months. I already have 3 of my other rental properties paid off, and I'm working to get the rest of my rentals paid off too. Now, if you buy a home and you get a locked-in mortgage rate, then your mortgage can only go up if taxes or insurance goes up. The renter side, renter costs are influenced by rent increases. So if the landlord increases your rent, you got to pay more. Now, the average rent currently is around $2,018 per month, and that's about $24,000 annually. Now, this cost rises with inflation, roughly around 3.5% per year, but in the last 3 years, rents have dramatically increased. And we talked about it earlier. I mean, in 2021, 18%, 2021 to 2022, 14.07%, and 2022, 12.2%. Now, rents are predicted to increase by 3.9% in the top 100 U.S. markets through 2024. So that's way better than the last 3 years, followed by a 5% increase the following year. If these expectations hold, rental price growth would eventually come back down to a more normal rate of like the 3.5% per year, which we talked about. But still, in 11 years, rent could reach $2,700 monthly as far as the average, or $32,500 yearly, requiring an additional $605,000 in investments to cover this increase if you rented in retirement. Okay, so let's look at financial forecasts for long-term homeowners and renters. Okay, so the long-term projections show that homeowners with a fully paid off home need less in retirement savings. I mean, it makes sense, right? You're not paying that mortgage, so you need a lot less money. Without that monthly mortgage payment, they avoid a significant expense that renters continue to face. On the other hand, renters need to account for the increasing rent costs over the years, especially if you're renting when you are in retirement age. Now, for the average life expectancy of 77 years old, renting until the end of life would require significantly more savings compared to owning a home. Renters must plan for a growing expense that could impact their overall retirement fund. I wanted to have my home and all my rentals paid off by the age of 60, and I will probably have that done 4 years early at my current pace. I also did about 15-year mortgages on all my homes. This greatly accelerated the payoff of my properties and lowered the interest that I paid significantly on them. Personally, I want cash flow when I retire, so I do not have to touch any of my retirement accounts. So my goal is to bring in enough passive money to live comfortably without relying on Social Security or my retirement accounts that I have set aside. That money can just be extra if I need it. And let's face it, people, retirement often means a tighter budget unless you've really have a ton of money and you're wealthy. Now, while you might envision a fully paid off home as the ultimate goal, there are pros and cons to consider. Remember, investing is still crucial for a comfortable retirement. You need to have a diversified portfolio of investments, that provides an income stream your home simply can't. However, owning a home does give you peace of mind, and you're not subject to rising rents or a landlord deciding to sell the house and kick you out. Plus, your home's value can easily be $500,000 or more, which can accelerate your retirement timeline by reducing the amount you need saved. The bottom line is a paid off home is a valuable asset, but it's just one piece of the financial puzzle. Focus on building multiple income streams like investments, pensions, or even side hustles like this one here in this video. These will provide the financial freedom you deserve in your golden years when you just want to retire and not do much of anything. Now, appreciation is another crucial factor to consider with your home. If you purchase a home and its value increases significantly while you live there, you could potentially make a substantial profit when you decide to sell that house. This profit can then be used to relocate to a more affordable area. For instance, let's say you have a house and you sell it for $500,000, and then you move to a region of the country or part of the state where you can buy a smaller home for $200,000. You can pay cash for it from the $500,000 you sold on your old home. And then you would have that additional $300,000 to bolster your retirement savings. So renters or homeowners, what are your thoughts about everything we talked about today? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more information on wealth, real estate, and investing.